All right, should be live now. Again, I had some technical difficulties. For some reason, my webcam disconnected, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I just want to get right into this thing. But I guess I should say thank you to those of you that expressed support across the socials, across the video platforms, in the comment section, community posts for those of you on YouTube, and the DMs that I received. It's very much appreciated. And if you don't know why people would even respond that way, then you're probably new around here. So you have to go back over the past few weeks as to what I've been covering and why I've been getting some hate for it, but mostly positive. So I'm taking my lumps as I go along. Let's get into this, shall we? This is all I care about. This is all I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to speed through this as quickly as I can. And maybe at the end of this, I would have decided if I'm going to finally finish checking out because I have everything in the checkout bag. I think that's what they call it here. But I have these things on mute. So the Galaxy Watch 4 is the watch I've been waiting for, but not in the way I expected it to be, because this thing is running Wear OS. And the last time I used an Android Wear before it became Wear OS device that I actually enjoyed, I reviewed it for my channel. It's called the Huawei watch, and I really, really like that watch. So this one kind of has some callbacks to it in a way, because the Huawei watch actually was the best one, the most presentable one. It was just absolutely gorgeous watch. When Samsung rolled out the Samsung Classic Watch 3, whatever the heck it was, the Classic 3, it was chunkier than the Huawei watch, but I prefer the software interface of Tizen from Samsung over what Android was doing or Google was doing with the thing. So anyway, besides that, now we have this. This is like one UI watch on Samsung's hardware, because this is an Exynos processor within this device, as far as I know. It's got a lot of things going for it underneath the hood. I like the design. This reminds me of the Active Watch 3. That's the one I do. Active Watch 3? Active Watch 2. That's the one I have. And I'm actually considering upgrading to the watch, not this classic version, which looks a lot more stylish. I must admit, I really like the classic more than this, but I already have the Galaxy Watch, the OG. That thing runs for at least 4 days on the battery, which is awesome. I have an issue with my Active Watch 2 because I have the Under Armour edition. So that one has Map My Run built into the watch. The issue I have with that is that you cannot update the app on its own. So whenever those updates have been pushed out, it does not allow you to update it on the Under Armour edition, because like I said, it's baked into the OS. So the app isn't launching. Like a lot of times it's buggy, it closes. So the only way to alleviate that is to reset the watch, like do a soft reset literally, and then restore your data. Then you can use it. It's frustrating. So I'm like, you know what? I'll go for this. I've been waiting a long time for Samsung to push out an update, and now that they basically signal that they're moving on to Wear OS, there's still no word as to what's going to happen with support for the existing Tizen watches. I think it's a good enough time to upgrade, because Samsung's got at least $150 towards the Active Watch 2 in upgrading to either this or the phone. So I like the athletic part of this because for myself, I use it a lot with Samsung Health. Samsung Health with my diary. For those of you that are not aware, and especially a lot of the new folks out there that are tuning in, I documented my health journey. I ballooned to about 250. I started my health journey about 4 years ago, and then I transitioned to I went to weight loss to then transition to strength training, and I've been in strength training for a few years now, on and off because of injuries, but I'm back in it. So this stuff is important to me. And it's because of this that you see me wearing an Apple Watch. Those that have been around for the longest know I absolutely hate Apple products. I respect what they do on their own, but I don't like them for me. I've never been a Mac guy or anything of the sort. But this watch was always my go-to after it was introduced with the EKG, ECG, and all that stuff. So the closest competitor to that was Samsung, because ever since the Gear Sport, since then those watches, they've been excellent. So I tested these things against like heart rate monitor strapped on and all that, and they've been fairly accurate with the optical sensors on these devices. So I have a lot of high hopes for this, and of course there's going to be more to it because of Wear OS, and I'd like to see how far that goes. It's just going to be interesting to see how this all works out, because now it's going to be running Wear OS as opposed to something that Samsung controls a lot more, and that was with Tizen. But then again, Samsung didn't really roll out as many updates for their watches. But at the very least, they updated them. That was a big deal. So there's a lot that's going for this one. Longer battery life to 40 hours continuous, I'm assuming. I hope that doesn't mean that if you turn off all the settings that it won't last more than 40. I hope it does, because this one has like always on display and other things. It'll be constantly monitoring your blood oxygen levels, and also when you're sleeping, it can, in conjunction with your phone, listen to you while you sleep, and if you're snoring, also track that. I don't like that. No, I'm not gonna do that. No. No. So with respect to the Galaxy Watch, though, this is the closest thing to it. If it's going to be like the Watch 3, I'm not all that enthusiastic about this watch, even though I really like the design. But if it's like the Watch 3, I'm not going to go for it. The Galaxy Watch was a better size for me. I'm a big guy, so a bigger watch made more sense. And there you go. So this thing, just like the other one, it's just like it does all the health tracking, but you wouldn't want to do that on this. That's the only reason that I like the Gear Sport watch, because it was like this. It was really good at track steady state cardio, but trying to do like plyometrics or other heavy movements, especially when you're involving your wrist, that watch kept getting in the way, especially when I'm wearing my workout gloves. So it became annoying to do that, and because you couldn't attach like Bluetooth devices to pair up to it like you can with an Apple Watch. Like I have my Under Armour shoes paired up to this watch. I have my heart rate monitor paired to this watch. You can't do that with Tizen watches from Samsung. So I'm hoping we can do that with the Wear OS versions. We'll see about that. But anyway, that's that. I'm excited about the watch. Like I said, that's the number one thing I was excited about. But I was piqued in my interest with respects to the third thing we'll address. I'm not going to touch on the earbuds, but I will address the Z Flip 3. The whole Z thing. This, I actually like it. My wife, who has been Apple since she was in middle school, even she's interested in this. I mean, she's Apple through and through, from Apple iPod to her first MacBook to her iMac and then the subsequent iMac, generations of iPhones. So believe me when I say that it's a big deal to have something jump out and say, hey, isn't this better than your iPhone 12 Pro Max? Because she has an iPhone 12 Pro Max, and she looked at this and like, oh my goodness, that is so pretty. And she likes that. So that in conjunction with what's going on with Apple and announcing that they're going to be probably doing like a backdoor thing to their software and scanning your photos and all this for your activity, for your protection. Sure. It's going to be interesting to see. But this thing, it is interesting. I knew that the second generation of this was going to be better. I've actually played around with the original Flip, so I thought that was a good size. This one's nice. It's good. It's not for me. Unless I was going to do a smartphone only, this would probably be it. I must admit, I'm more interested in the Pixel lineup, but we'll see about that. This one is now water resistant. Ironically enough, though, let's jump the shark there. Okay, so with this one, I must say it is interesting that some people are complaining that the hole punch is still in the screen on the inside for the selfie cam. I'm not complaining about that, because as you'll see when I start covering the Fold 3, you're going to realize maybe it was for the better. But I love its portability, how compact it is for such a tall display, because this thing is a tall phone. And I just think that Samsung is just doing a phenomenal job in ironing out their software, and they have so much baked into this thing that's pretty cool. Downside is that it looks like they have camera carryovers from the previous generations, for why they saved a little bit of money on that, because this phone starts at $999. With trade-ins, you can bring it up to about $500. That's crazy, $500 for basically an actual futuristic device. So water resistance is good, but it's not dust resistant. So it's IPX8 as I expected it to be. I don't think they're going to get the dust on it, like a dust resistant on it, but at least it's water resistant, and that's probably more important to most folks in the long run for durability. And it's got stereo speakers now, Dolby Atmos, pretty cool, and a stronger aluminum frame and other things. So it's going to be interesting. If you were a fan of the first one but held off because you want to wait for the next one, this is probably the one you're going to want to get, especially because it's available in at least 7 different colors. Some of them are exclusive to Samsung.com only, and you can check it out there. A word of caution or a word of advice: some of these things are already sold out. FYI, I've been on this since the early morning. I watched a lot of tech videos from my favorite influencers because I wanted to see what they had to say. Everybody seems to have a consensus that maybe more could have been done with respects to this guy. But everybody says it's still a good leap for it. So this is the one that interests me, mostly because it's got, well, the water resistance is the big factor with respect to durability. I do have the Surface Duo, so people know that I do like foldable devices. I think I prefer the implementation of Microsoft's, at least what they had, but because the software was lacking, it really kind of held it back. And now with Samsung, with all their experience, has done this to bring water resistance, improve the integrity of the device, make it a stronger frame, to do a flush screen in the inside, even though it's not a hole punch camera, but it's underneath the display, and I'll touch on that in the bit because they're going to highlight it here. But the fact that you get S Pen support also on this thing is pretty cool. It's a special S Pen. It's not like you can just really poke at it with a true S Pen experience, but the mere fact that you have a futuristic phone at your fingertips now, it's really, really cool. And they've had 3 years now to work on this software. This is why this device is leaps and bounds ahead of the Duo 2 when it comes out. The downside to all of this, though, when it comes for me, if I were to use it as my main device, I don't like how thin it is when you close the phone, because you want to use the outside phone. I hate thin devices, and just an iPhone 12 is already too thin for me. It's not wide enough for me to type because I have big hands. That's why the Note 10 was a really good fit for me, and this is way too narrow. So that means I have to open it up. When you're opening it up, now it's way too wide. So there's really no way to efficiently type on this thing. To me, the experience is going to be more for multitasking, which is something you can't really do on a candy bar phone. So this one, that's where that has that leg up. The downside when it comes to the camera, though, the one that's over here and under the display, which is why I believe that Samsung's like, you know what, we better not put this camera on the flip, because that thing is a 4-megapixel camera and it takes hazy pictures. So for those of you that know about this, MKBHD actually covered this on the Axios, that's the name of the phone that did that technology first, where the pixels turn off when using the camera and turn back on to kind of hide the camera under the display. But it takes hazy pictures because there's still things in the way, and an algorithm tries to eliminate that haze to bring a picture more in focus. So Samsung's reasoning for this is that, well, you know, you have the camera in the front, which is a 10-megapixel camera that's actually better than the one on the inside. It's like, case in point, that makes sense. And the one on the inside, you're probably using more for video conferencing. So in other words, even the webcams on your phone suck. That's just the way I take it. But at least it has good cameras that are carried over from the previous generation. So if you didn't like the cameras from the previous generation, you're not going to like these. As for me, I have a Note 10, not the 10 Plus, which had the better camera array, that laser autofocus and all that. I'm talking about the 10, the standard size, the smaller one, because I hate big phones. And this one has, in comparison, these cameras are better than those. So to me, it's a step up. But for those of you that have like an S21 Ultra and things like that, this is a significant step down, especially considering these are like S20 cameras. For me, what interests me the most is the work part. Play, don't really care. The whole futuristic wider screen, dual Dolby Atmos stereo speakers is pretty cool. What else do we got here? Multiple windows. This is a big deal. They actually improved the way they do some the how they utilize the real estate on this. So that's going to be interesting. And of course, the creme de la creme. At least we have this. Now, the experience is going to be interesting because it's a retractable tip. And there's an actual, it's called S Pen Pro, which is specifically made for, well, it has a switch, a manual switch to toggle for a use on this foldable device. Because you're still going to break that thin glass screen if you really poke at it as you're meant to, which is going to make the experience interesting, because I don't know if it's going to affect my confidence in writing on this. But it'll kind of remind me of the Windows PCs of old that had a stylus and you would doodle on things. But that one, at least, even though the screens were soft, you would still kind of always poke at it. This one, I don't know what it would do to it. So it's going to be interesting, because this is where the Duo has a leg up with the fact that they have a hinge, basically two screens acting as one. The fact that they can use true glass, you can stab that screen all you want. So that's the confidence that I like about the Duo, that the Fold is still probably a couple of generations from achieving. So what else do we get? Yeah, that's really about it. So now I actually didn't open this webpage beforehand, so I'm going to jump to it here. So see, here's a 4 megapixel under display camera, a 10 megapixel in the front, and then the back camera is a triple array, all 12 megapixels, telephoto, wide angle, and ultra wide. These are the same ones that are in the Fold 2. If you don't like those cameras, you're not going to like this one. It's the same thing. It's all about software processing and things. So we'll see. For me, like I said, it will be a step up, but this is the big deal. Water resistance, pretty awesome. Not dust resistant, at least not rated for dust resistant. But let's see what they've done to try to make those little bristles inside the hinge to kind of throw away some of that dust. So we'll see. But Samsung's pretty confident this is going to take a beating compared to previous generation devices. So we shall see. But here's the frustrating part for why the Duo 2 has a lot to live up to when it's announced. Now, let me find it, because unfortunately I don't have it ready. So there we go, right here. Microsoft and Samsung expand partnership with Galaxy Z Fold 3 and Galaxy Z Fold Flip 3. Let me just read you the bullet points before I open the blog. Many of Microsoft's apps take advantage of the folding displays of the Galaxy Fold 3 and the Flip 3. Microsoft highlights its expanded partnership with Samsung in a blog post. Team supports showing a presentation on one half of the screen while showing people's faces within the meeting on the other half. How cool is that, to be able to actually do something with that extra real estate? This is why the Duo isn't as good. The software experience holds it back, because Microsoft seems to be more interested in making the Samsung products and the Microsoft experience on the Samsungs even better. There was a time, and I did see these in person in the Microsoft store back then when they still had physical stores. There were editions of the Note devices that were called Microsoft devices, because instead of having Google apps installed as the default apps, it had the Microsoft apps already preloaded and installed. I don't know what happened to those. Maybe they made it exclusively only to business users, but I saw them, I held them, and they were sold. They were offered to me through the back channels with the business department. So maybe that's where I came across from it. But since then, the stylus experience and with OneNote and all the Microsoft Office suite, everything has been on Android. The best experience has been on Samsung. That, in combination with the way the Your Phone Companion works with the computer, the Miracast, the mirroring, the third-party support, third-party app support, all that, it works best on this. That's why I'm like, dude, Microsoft, you have your own freaking phone. Why can't you bring some of that stuff over here? Is it because it's an exclusive partnership with Samsung that only they can do it first? You guys are the ones that control the licensing agreements here. Why couldn't you bring that to the Duo? They bring the exclusive stuff to that first if you're going to bring in a Samsung too. So that's why the Duo 2, I'm not excited about the hardware side. I like what I already have. I just don't like the software. That's what's holding the device back from its true potential. Everything is there to make this thing be awesome. just that the software has to live up to it. And that's my frustration with it, because this blog post on Microsoft or Windows.com, it speaks inspiration to someone like me that's in with Samsung, but it doesn't give me confidence that Microsoft is paying much attention to their own products in that sense. So I'm a little disappointed about that they don't do it here with their Duo, but they are doing it for the Fold 3, which is why I'm like, might as well buy the Fold 3, because you guys don't really seem to be giving much of anything over to the Duo. You guys are fire selling it. You can buy it for less than $400 now. Yeah, so there's a lot there that I have some gripes with, but yeah, this is it. Microsoft cares more about Samsung and your experience with Microsoft on their products instead of their own. So we'll see. Anyway, I'm getting a lot of interference now, so I try to do this as quickly as I can on time. It's been, and this is the last thing I'll touch on because it actually ties the whole thing together. For whatever freaking reason, because we're in California, there's those rolling blackouts, and then of course with that comes internet outages. It's so annoying. What's powered me through, and I did a video about this on my channel, you can look it up, Samsung's DeX power me through it. The reason that's important is because you don't have to hotspot to use Samsung DeX on your computer. You can just use the data from your phone, so it looks like your phone directly is just mirroring the screen over to your computer, and use that. And that's how I've been able to keep working, which is why, hey, I'm a tech enthusiast. I love leveraging the cloud. I love leveraging hardware, and when they work together to make my life easier, great. I know there's the big tech side of things and all that, whatever. Yeah, I understand all that and the concerns as a consumer, but as a business user and the tools that I buy, and that's what I want them for, that's what I use them for, and I'm always so excited to use them in that respect. So to me, the better buy right now is the Fold 3 over the Duo 2, unless Microsoft actually cares and pushes whatever updates over to the first generation Duo. If they're going to say, I know Windows Vista sucks, buy Windows 7 now, this one's better. No. Give me that license for free, update my Vista. I'm not going to go out to buy that next thing because you refuse to fix the original one. So Microsoft, fix that and I'll consider your stuff. Anyway, that's it for this Tech Talk episode 11. Thank you so much. This is my raw reaction with respects to the Samsung Galaxy Unboxed event. Like I said, the most exciting thing for me was the watch. I'm fascinated to see what Samsung has done. And in tandem, these two devices together, I might just actually finish pre-ordering this thing. And this is supposed to be 2 millimeters thinner now. So it might be just as thin as the first generation Microsoft Duo, which in and of itself is an engineering feat. It's cool. But anyway, I guess that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Check out my stuff at, the usual, www.segovia.com. And yeah, I guess I'll see you on the next one. Now for the awkward end broadcast.